Hello and welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host and city manager, Doug Bartosh, and I'm here today with Casey Rooney, who's our Director of Economic Development and also the Executive Director of the Cottonwood Economic Development Council. And we're here to just give you an update on the economy in Cottonwood and what we're seeing, and really it's pretty exciting news. And kind of overall, Casey, what's the outlook at this point?
Well, I'm seeing an uptick in the economy, and I'm an eternal optimist, so you have to keep that in mind. But Elliot Pollack out of Phoenix, who's an economist, we get a report from him every week, and he's showing that consumer confidence is going up. And that tells me that when consumer confidence goes up, people are feeling a little bit better about their jobs, they've got a little bit more disposable income, and they're starting to spend it. So that's a good thing. Consumer confidence is going up, and I noticed that there was an article recently in the Verde Independent. They were talking about the sales tax going up. So I think that's happening all over. I know that we aren't flush with money by any means, but there's a trend that's looking much more favorable than it has, in the past 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going through our budget process, and we certainly have all heard that, we're still tight. We're not back to pre-recession numbers yet, and expenses have continued to go up, and so we need to look at that. But I think the good news is what we have heard is we've got new commercial coming into town, we've got commercial development, we've got residential, new residential selling, and talk a little bit about the new businesses that have come to town.
Well, there's Tractor Supply.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. And I'm not exactly sure how many employees. I heard a number of 30. I think that's high. Let's say they have 20 employees, new employees. That's 20 new people that are employed. The medical center, the biggest employer we have in the community, they're going to be opening the hospice center on Willard Avenue. Now, if you haven't driven by there, I guess I'm talking to your audience now, they need to go by and see it. It is a world-class hospice center. It's beautiful.
It is.
And people are going to be coming here just to see that facility. The Southwest Wine Center at Yavapai College, that's, they're building that right now, and I think you took a tour recently. I took a tour a couple weeks ago and was very impressed with it. Old Town is doing very well.
We have a couple of breweries.
Yeah, we got a couple of breweries. We got one that's coming in. It's actually going to be back behind the senior center. And I believe that's Aspen that goes back in.
That's actually Cherry.
Cherry, I'm sorry, Cherry. Yeah, so there's going to be a microbrewery there. What's neat about that is they're actually making the beer there to distribute elsewhere. So they're coming out of Pine. They have that brewery, that's the name of it, that brewery in Pine, and they've grown to the point where they can't make enough beer, microbrew type beer, to distribute throughout the state. So they chose Cottonwood, and they have it like an industrial facility where they're going to be making beer. I mean, you'll also be able to go in and taste the beer, but the mission is to make more beer that they can distribute. So it's money coming into our community and from outside to buy beer.
Yeah, because like the wine industry, craft beer is very popular, and in my discussions with them, they're looking at producing enough to where they can begin to sell it in supermarkets, restaurants, the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, another one is the microbrewery that's going into the old church building that we own, the city owns. I don't know if we
used to be Parks and Rec. And
do we still own that, or has that gone through?
No, the escrow is closed on that, and they do own it now. So hopefully we'll be seeing plans in the near future.
Yeah, because I think they're looking at close to $1 million investment in that building. So, and everybody's excited about it. I'm talking to people down in Old Town who, in the past, around that curve where the church is, it was kind of a low-hanging fruit. I mean, it was one of those places that has a lot of opportunity, but it just didn't make it. I think this is going to help it. I mean, the Bing's Burgers right across the street, you know, Larry's Antiques, all those nice businesses are going to benefit from them being there, and vice versa. So that's going in. Then, of course, you could stand on the back patio of that particular brewery, a microbrewery, and look across the field by our ball field there by our building and see Revelation Wines.
That's right.
Right? So there's going to be a new winery in Old Town. So the whole, and then there's, you know, other businesses that are coming in. And, you know, I would say for every one that doesn't make it, you know, there's 3 others just waiting in the wings to take off. So we've got a distillery type business out of Kingman that's going to open a tasting room here in Cottonwood. There's a new gallery in Old Town that just opened here recently within the last couple weeks. And, you know, the list just goes on. There's activity going on all the time.
You know, I think one of the exciting projects is a redevelopment project is where Sears is now.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's a Dan Peterson and his son, his family, fixed up that building. That's something that we should really be proud of. He did, again, he made a big investment in our community. And he's hiring people, and it's a nice store. It's just, people are going to like that.
And local contractor, the Backus family, and did all the work. And that's an absolutely spectacular remodel. And they still have space available, I understand. That
They do. I think half of that building is available. So there should be some other, I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. I don't think Dan knows either, but he's marketing that other half of the building, and it's going to be a real nice, it is a real nice facility. If your listeners haven't seen it, they need to go to the new Sears store.
Yeah, it really is nice, and I haven't gotten in there yet, but I need to get in there and see what they have. And because like I said, they've done a great job with that building. And
I know there's, you know, other businesses that your listeners want to see in our community. And we as a city and we as a community are working on that. I know the kids in the community would love to see a movie theater. And so, you know, I'm looking into that. There's a nice little theater, three theater complex in Payson. And I've talked to those folks, and they kind of educated me on the movie theater business. Each one of those screens, each one of those rooms where you have a movie, a screen, costs $1 million. That's just kind of an average.
Wow.
So if you get a three-screen movie theater, that's $3 million that you got to come up with, and that's just a small private one. So there's challenges to this. You got to be able to justify it and have people come to the movies. People aren't going to put in an 8-theater complex and spend $8 to $10 million if people aren't going to use it. So I think there's a demand. That's what I'm hearing, and I'm working on that.
Yeah, and I know that was a big issue for our youth commission, and they've actually been out doing surveys and shooting videos, and so they're putting that package together to get out to the movie businesses to try and entice them and convince them that we really want a movie theater here in Cottonwood.
And I appreciate those kids doing that.
Yeah,
because that's the ammo we need to go to the big chains and get them in here.
Absolutely, they have a lot of ability and a lot of power.
They do.
And they've really done a great job with it, so thanks to our youth commission for
but the people in Payson that put that theater together, when I was talking to them and they were educating me on how much it costs to build a theater, they told me that Cottonwood is prime for a movie theater. So I think we're on the right track. Right. Now it's just a matter of convincing other people, when we're just now coming out of a terrible recession, is the time right?
Right.
Is it today? Is it a year from now? But we need to prime the pump and get it going.
And that's really the challenge with all of these. I mean, people have talked about a Kohl's, Target, many other businesses, chain stores mostly, that they'd like to see here. It's really making sure that we're positioned to entice them. And I think we're, like you said, we're there. We just, I think the economy needs to strengthen a little bit more, and we'll get them in. And we have some great properties.
We do. We do.
Available for development. So.
You know, I'm thinking of just 3 major pieces of property in our community right now. And I know there's another half a dozen beyond that people are sitting on, waiting for that opportunity.
It's coming.
You know, it is.
It's coming, and we're working on it, I guarantee you. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take our first break, and then we'll come back and learn a little bit more about the economy in Cottonwood.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We thought you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Doug Bartosh, and I'm here today with Casey Rooney, our Economic Development Director, and we're talking about the economy here in Cottonwood. And, you know, the city has really made a lot of effort to create an image of being business friendly and really promoting economic growth here in Cottonwood to really create a sustainable economy here. One of the things that we were missing was tourism. Mm-hmm. We knew we had 4 million visitors coming to the Verde Valley and going to Sedona per year. And many of those would go to Jerome, and they would drive through Cottonwood using the bypass and maybe stop for gas, maybe stop at a grocery store. But what we needed to do was get them to stay here in Cottonwood for a night or two and leave their tourist dollars here so that we could help promote it. So we had a great, you know, economic picture with the exception of that one leg, tourism. We had industry, we had medical, we had retail, we had a lot of other things going on, but we needed tourism not only to fill out that economic void, but also to create some other opportunities. You got to get people here first before they go, wow, I'd like to live here, or wow, I'd like to open a business here. And so talk a little bit about that, Casey, because it's really become a model for the state. And it is an important component of what we do here. And it's not only an economic driver in Old Town, it's an economic driver for the city.
Yeah. Well, Doug, I want to share kind of a little case study with you. Now, I just put it together this morning, but I received an email from Rebecca Timmer from Phoenix. She is part owner of Dibble Engineering. And she's been up here a couple times with her husband. They come up and they spend the night. And, well, this time she's coming up and she's bringing 11 or 12 of her good friends with her. And it takes that one time you come, you enjoy it, and then you come back again, you enjoy it again, just to verify that you're really getting the real McCoy. And then next thing you know, they're bringing up 10, 12 people. So I want to share an email with you real quick. It starts out, "Hi, Saturday night rock stars. Here's the deal. I know this guy who does economic development in Cottonwood. I mentioned him over wine on Saturday night. He's the one that showed me how cool Cottonwood really is. Multiple times. She's been here several times. Now that I have you convinced, I think we are all on board for a weekend visit to taste some wine, check out the new breweries going in, and do a little shopping. Check out Jerome, have dinner at Bocce, have a cup of Joe at our favorite coffee shop, Crema. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to help me determine a weekend and how many rooms we'll need. There's this really cool place that has recently been renovated that I think will work perfectly for us. The challenge will be that it doesn't have many rooms, so we'll need to book soon. If you want to take a look at it, go here, and there was a website. I would propose that we depart on Saturday morning, stop at Alcantara Vineyards on the way for a little taste. Head to Cottonwood for lunch at Rendezvous. Then maybe head to Jerome for a stroll, depending on when we can check into the rooms. Back to Cottonwood for hotel check-in and dinner. We'll need a reservation at Pizzeria Bacci. There, after that, we can stroll Main Street, maybe catch some live music and or even sit in our hotel courtyard with our own vino Sunday morning at Crema and play the rest by ear. Now, that is one person is bringing up 10 other people. So I started laying this out, did my little case study. They're coming here not because we're the heart of the Verde Valley. They're coming here because we're the heart of the Arizona wine country, heart of Arizona wine country. We're in the middle of Arizona, and we are the middle of the wine industry in the Verde Valley. So some people might say, well, I think we're Cornville's the heart of Arizona wine country. Well, Cottonwood is the service and tourist mecca where people are coming to in Old Town. So these 12 people, they're going to go to Alcantara on their way here. They're going to eat at Rendezvous, Bacci, Crema. They're going to do wine tasting. They're going to buy wine. They're going to stay in a hotel. They're going to spend money on retail establishments. They might go to Walmart because they forgot the toothpaste and deodorant. So the big chains will benefit. They'll probably stop off at Mike and Dawn Kilpatrick's place, the olive oil traders, and buy some olive oil. They might go to Art Glitter, where the Barb runs, and who knows what they might buy there, but it's a draw. They may go to Charlene Zach's gallery. They might go to Pat Mannheim's gallery. They might go to Sun Silver West Gallery, and that's a brand new business in Old Town. They might go to the tea room in Old Town at the Old Town Jail. They'll probably, on their way out of town, they're probably going to be buying gas. So I added all this up, and I put numbers to each thing, like gas between, let's say, 6, 7 cars, $250. Food, 150 at Rendezvous, 500 at Bacci, 150 at Crema. Wine, these are people that have a lot of disposable income. They might spend $1,000 on wine. That's at $30 a bottle. That's very doable. The hotel, they're going to probably spend $700 at this hotel. Retail, I mentioned the galleries and that sort of thing. There's a whole nother bit of money at maybe $1,000. That total comes to, for one night, 2 days, one night, $3,750. Now, if each one of those 12 people come back and they bring another person with them, now we're doubling the amount of people that are coming. So the number goes from $3,750 to close to maybe $10,000 because more people are coming to the community, not that same day, but maybe in the future. So the revenue goes up. So my challenge to your listeners is when these 10 people come to town, keep in mind that weekend, there's probably 500 or 1,000 people swarming into town from Sedona, Jerome, traveling around the Verde Valley. My challenge to our audience is how can you make them want to come back? How can you make them feel good about being here? I think that's really important. I do my best to really entertain people, make them feel welcome when they come to the community. That's what needs to happen at the gas station, at Art Glitter, at the galleries, the tea room. When they go to get gas, the gas station attendant, it's all really important to.
And I think, personally, I think that's one of the greatest assets that Cottonwood has, is we have great people, friendly people, and we like to say nobody's a stranger here.
Yeah.
And so, but I think that the last piece of that is, what's happening is Old Town is getting people to come to Cottonwood that would have never come to Cottonwood before.
Right.
And like this group, they're professionals, they're people who make decisions in their businesses, have disposable income, and so they're thinking, what a great, and I've heard people say this, what a great place. Man, I'd love to have a second home up here. I'd love to live up here. I'd love to move my business up here. You know, and so consequently, it's kind of growing that business. It's really impacting the entire economy of the city.
It is. And, you know, we don't just focus on Old Town. I mean, we realize that the medical center is the biggest employer in town. The school system is really critical. Retail, you know, outside of Old Town is really important.
Yeah.
So, but Old Town is the draw. The people that I'm talking about that are coming here, those 12 people, are coming because they heard about Old Town. They aren't coming here just to go to Walmart and Home Depot, because they can do that elsewhere.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and what is unique to our community? What is some asset that we have that nobody else has?
And hold that.
Okay.
Because we got to take another break, and I think that's a great segue into our next discussion about our branding exercise.
Okay, good.
So come back and join us about and learn about branding. And there's a little bit of controversy around the recommended logo, but I think people need to understand the background and the strategy behind this. So we look forward to talking to you more.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it. Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Doug Bartosh, and we're here with Casey Rooney from our Economic Development Department, and we're talking about the economy in Cottonwood, and you know, we're moving forward. We're making progress, and I think even a lot of our work during the downturn, the recession, is beginning to pay off for us now. And one of the things I know that you've been intimately involved in is the branding process. And you kind of were leading into that before we took a break. And tell us what's going on with that, and really give listeners an idea of how complex that is, because I think people are looking at the logo and going, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you know, branding is not about the logo. I mean, that's one component. I mean, we're putting together a whole branding strategy. And that strategy includes a tagline, a logo, and a strategy. And, you know, when the economy crashed and we went into a recession, the Old Town started taking off and the wine industry started taking off. And we did this intentionally. It wasn't by accident. It takes a lot of planning to make these things happen. You don't just hope that something's going to happen and it happens. So first of all, we're going to be developing this year a 5-year economic development strategy. We're partnering with APS. It is a $43,000 project. APS is going to pay for $33,000 of it, and they're asking us to contribute. I think that's a pretty good investment on our part. So
and this isn't the first time we've coordinated with APS to have an economic development plan.
Right, you're exactly right. And we have a 5-year economic development plan that ends like right now.
Right.
So we need to go into the next 5-year planning phase. And we put together an economic development strategy. We have focus areas. So for the first 5 years that we did this, we would meet every single month, and we had focus areas. Our focus areas were education, workforce, innovation and entrepreneurship, tourism, Old Town, sustainability, leadership, and quality of place. Now, some of these might go on into the future, but we have to, think a lot has happened in 5 years, and it's time to think about the next 5 years. So we're gonna be working on that. But to get back to the branding, it's a branding strategy that we're putting together. We have found, because we put an emphasis on tourism, that people are coming here. They're finding out about us. But we need to take that strategy, that branding strategy, to the next level. And so we've been the heart of the Verde Valley, which is good. I'm glad we're the heart of the Verde Valley. But for people, we're not branding necessarily to our own people in our community, because our own people know who we are. It's the people it's the 11, 12 people that Rebecca Timmer's going to bring up here that need to know what our brand is. And so, fortunately, Rebecca's been here and she loves the place and she's bringing people up. But we want to reach people that don't have a Rebecca, that want to get out of Phoenix. That's a big part of our market, is Phoenix. So the brand is a strategy. We're branding it as the heart of Arizona wine country, because we are, whether people realize it or not. That's why a lot of people are coming here. That's why those 12 people are coming here. And then when they come here, they may come back. Next time they come back, they may go to the Verde Canyon Railroad or, Blazing Elm or wherever. But we got to get them up here first. And the reason these people with disposable income are coming is because of the wine industry, first of all.
And I think that's a good point. I mean, a lot of times what I've heard from people is, well, look at, Cottonwood's more than wine. It's hiking, biking, it's the river, it's, and absolutely.
Yeah.
And Sedona's more than red rocks.
Yeah.
But that's their hook, their beautiful red rock scenery.
Right.
And for us, it's been wine.
Yeah.
That has been our hook.
Yeah. It has, and it happened in a down economy.
Right.
I mean, we had to wrap our arms around an industry that looked like it was going to grow and diversify. And we got the medical industries here. But what's another industry? We don't forget about manufacturing. I mean, that's important. But the brand is about the hook that's going to bring the tourists with all that disposable income to our community. And that's what the brand is all about. It's not, we're not trying to offend people by saying it's not the heart of the Verde Valley. It is the heart of Arizona wine country. We're still the heart of the Verde Valley. We'll never forget that.
Right.
We know that.
Right.
If you need a pair of underwear and you live in Sedona, you got to come to Cottonwood to get them, So we're going to continue to be that heart of the Verde Valley. And we're working on the brand. We have a good strategy. We have a tagline. We're refining the logo. So I don't want people that have seen it to be, sort of bent out of shape about it till we, come up with, finalize everything, Yeah. And that's where we're going with this. We're not trying to ramrod anything or cram it down anybody's throat. It's a strategy that is going to help our community grow. It's going to help all these businesses that I was talking about earlier to survive and get stronger. I mean, there are people, the money that these people are bringing into town stays in our town. And they're helping actual people that we know in our community survive and thrive and create wealth.
And I think it's important to talk about, too, that this was not just a city project. I mean, we had people from the Old Town Association, people from the Chamber, people from the business community, people who are knowledgeable about the economy and what's driving the economy in Cottonwood to say, what is the hook? What is it that we need to put out there to get people here?
Yeah, and you could ask 12,000 people about branding, and the logo, and they'll come up with 12,000 different, probably 24,000 different ideas.
Yeah.
So we tried to be inclusive with a broad range of people. We even brought people from Phoenix, you know, Kimber Lanning from Local First Arizona, people like that that have the pulse of what's going on to the people that we're trying to market to down in Phoenix. She knows, you know, those people, what will sell. So, you know, there were probably 25 people involved in this process. And then we whittled it down a little bit to a smaller group because you got to make decisions. Right. If I have my own company, I can make a decision without anybody's input. If we're helping to run a city, we got to be more inclusive, and we tried to do that. And when you become inclusive, you're open for criticism and everything else, and everybody's got an idea. So we're doing the best we can to listen to the audience, to listen to our citizens. And I hope our citizens are listening to the people that are coming to our community and why they're coming here. It's not just about us.
Well, and certainly, I mean, all the media attention on Cottonwood, both nationally and internationally, has to do with the wine industry.
Yeah, I mean, I get so much information crossing my desk all the time, and when people are talking about Cottonwood, they're talking about the wine industry. They're not talking. I mean, God love Walmart and Home Depot. We need them, you know, but that's not why people are coming here, and then they're not coming up to go to necessarily to the medical center. You know, we don't want them to have to go to the medical center, but we also know that those are viable, important businesses. Right. But they're coming here for what they're seeing in Old Town.
Well, and more likely too. I mean, certainly there's people that come up for hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, those kind of things, but they can go elsewhere for that as well. For the wine, it's here or it's in southern Arizona. If we don't grab that tag, somebody else is going to.
Yeah. I want to make one other point, Doug.
And you got to make it quick because we're going to have to go.
We've got people coming to our community from other communities, like Payson next week. We've got a big group of people coming down. They're telling me they want their community to look like this. It's Old Town.
Yeah. It's a great point.
Yeah.
We have become a model for the state in terms of economic development. You know, we could go on and talk about this topic for a long time, and I want to thank Casey for coming here today, and we'll try and get him back more often. But thanks for joining us on Inside Cottonwood, and come back and join us again.